Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel conversations. Which if this man here, I don't know, goofy, right? Yeah, so it's the Ice Age YouTube channel where I try to talk about all my passion for my cars and vehicles, and then just talk about things in general. And welcome to the channel if you're new. And so what's going on here? The lawn maintenance people have shown up today, so it's kind of noisy morning here. And being it's the off season, being it's cooler down here, it's cool. Actually, right now I could wear a little little jacket. Not real bad, but it's definitely cool for the Florida area here. But it's nice. Nice weather. Is it fair weather? Could you say it's the fair weather? Oh my goodness gracious, if you follow my channel, it just doesn't end. Here's the used Super Chief Indian that I picked up the other day, if you watch my channel. And the daughter and I rode last night. I rode the bobber. Just about ran out of gas. Wow. I mean, crazy on how that played out yesterday. And the daughter drove this really well. She swears up and down this motorcycle. If you looked at these two motorcycles, you kind of look at the bags and the windshield, which do you think is, lighter or the easier one to navigate? And she, sorry for all the noise behind me, but this is what you deal with when you have the lawn maintenance people taking care of your neighborhood. It gets noisy 1 or 2 days out of the week. But anyways, so this bike is more balanced and more nimble than this motorcycle here. Even though this motorcycle weighs a good 50 pounds more, at least 50 pounds more, she rode yesterday, and she just, she loves the motorcycle. It's a more confident riding motorcycle. And I've talked about that so many times over the Harleys years ago. I mean, it's incredible. All in 2018, I pretty much started parting away from all my I get away from the noise. It's just obnoxious, right? I get it. I started parting away from all my Harleys because of my first Indian motorcycle purchase, my Dark Horse Roadmaster I bought. Coffee here, made everybody a meal last night. Is it ready? And how's that Tindo doing? How's that doing? Is it fair that I'm comparing the Indian motorcycle to the Harley Davidson motorcycle? I think it is. That's the theme of the day. It's fair. I don't even know if I've ever made a video based on the fairness theme to date. I don't know, in all sincereness. But anyway, so we rode yesterday, and it's just one of these things. We went out and got the crash bars, put the crash bars on a motorcycle. We got back home and put them on, then got on the road. Now it's like 4:30 in the afternoon, and we went down the Campbell Courtney Causeway, and we got into major traffic. And so it just, literally just locked down. And this is now you get on the road, and you can't escape because of the Jersey barriers and the guardrails. And after a while of just being in stop and go traffic for miles, I looked out my Indian bobber, that red bike out there. It's down to 1 bar in gas. I'm like, oh, I've never put gas. Have I? No, I think I have, because I've ridden that thing now, and now it has like 500 miles on it. Need to change the oil. That's how. But anyways, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna run out of gas. So then I went to the range thing, and it said I had 50 miles. But who knows? I mean, I'm thinking 1 bar, 50 miles. Anyways, we were finally able to escape that and turn around safely and get back up the road. And then we went through Safety Harbor down here in the Oldsmar, Florida area. And sure enough, when I got through the Safety Harbor area, I knew there was a gas station. That's why I went there. And it's easier to ride. It kind of gets you off the main traffic of the road. And so the little dash on that motorcycle starts flashing. And I go to the gas station, and I put 2.98 gallons in that tank. I think that's like a 3 gallon or a 3.1, 3.5. I don't know. I mean, oh my gosh. Wow. That would have been such a bummer of a day yesterday if I had run out of gas on that Campbell Courtney Causeway. Oh my gosh. I mean, a fiasco. Anyways, Oh, geez. So, anyways, this morning, I don't know. I'm sincere. I didn't have an idea. Some words I just think, yeah, I'm not going to post a video. I mean, I'm sincere. I'm just telling you. But then I think, yeah, I think some people just like to hear my voice and see me talk about things, and so I just keep going. If I hear me pound their fists, it's pretty pathetic. Then okay, well, I've got many other things I can do, but I enjoy talking, as you can tell. So I thought to myself, fair. What is fair? What actually brought that thought to me this morning is just all the things that are going on around us more than ever in our society. And I think, once again, let's kind of keep it to the car theme channel, and not ratchet up the hate of the, get the hate channels going, which I'm not. That's not what my channel's about. It's just about sharing information and different views, and we all have opinions and ideas, and hopefully all can kind of come to closure without being mad at each other, that when it kind of seems makes sense, and we learn from one another. But anyways, I was reading last night in the Wall Street Journal that the Paris Accord Act, or the Paris climate change of 2015, that the nations came together and agreed to cut their carbon footprint to the world, or to Mother Nature, to cut back on your carbon emissions. So your country should have a goal between 2015 and 2025 to, like, the United States had like a 25% decrease in carbon emissions. That was their goal. And what was so interesting when I was reading that article, it talked about how China said, no, we're going to increase our emissions dramatically. Yes, so China actually said in that meeting is, we will not be cutting back on our emissions. We will be growing the emissions, carbon challenges, and by leaps and bounds. So, for you guys, basically, we're not playing the game. Our country's growing by leaps and bounds, and we'll be expanding dramatically the carbon presence, even the point that they said that by 2030, there's nothing's going to change for them anytime soon. And you just think to yourself, wow, is that fair? I mean, the whole world supposedly is on this mission of cutting back carbon emissions, but China is basically saying to everybody that, well, suck it up, Buttercup, too bad. We're not playing that game. And even to the point that, listen to this, they're building coal. I've heard this stuff, and I just kind of read it. And, is it all factual? I don't know. It's Wall Street Journal. What comes from that conversation, Wall Street Journal, of telling the facts. So they're saying that in Beijing, China alone, there's now basically more coal plants than the entire country of the United States. But at the same time, I think a lot of coal plants have been closed. But China's building, apparently, coal plants still at a rapid pace. Apparently, China's not going down the path of the nuclear or the green agenda, solar, natural gas. They're building power plants left and right. They're all coal-fired. So if China's position is that they're just not playing the game of the rest of the nations, so you just got to think to yourself, is that fair? I mean, how is that fair? But yet there's so many, and that's what it talks about. There's so many aspects of 2015 and even 2008. You can go back even further than that. What drove this country by the droves to go to China for manufacturing, which we know a lot of that is the automotive industry. Well, you can go back to as far as Obama's administration, 2008, I believe. The goal was to force manufacturing to China, and the way they claim. I mean, once again, it's speculation, it's talk. I'm no idiot to think that everything I read is factual, but you have to step back and read and evaluate. Here comes the noise. I can't escape the noise. Is that fair? Is that fair that these guys are out here this early in the morning? Yeah, whatever. So, anyway, so to the point that the goal of the governing bodies of this country was to force manufacturing to China because they didn't want the things related with the manufacturing in this country, the hardships it puts on the environment and everything else, and labor, and it's so many variables there. And I just think, wow. So back in 2008, the governing bodies were telling manufacturing companies, you're better off going overseas because your electricity's like double, triple, quadruple. So it's going to get much more expensive, and then the labor laws, and the list goes on and on. The average person is very abreast to why we're in China for manufacturing, because so many companies have been able to skate all the enforcement of the governing bodies of this country of labor laws, health laws, just cheap labor and cheaper materials and cheaper manufacturing. So that's why China. And here's the thing: a lot of our stuff, it's all automotive related, being cars, motorcycles, boats, everything related today is all part of China. And so I just think to myself, wow, is that really fair? How is that fair? So then you kind of go to the cars. I got to get my car yet. And what's going on today here at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago? Wow. Huh. What's this all about? It's always the cyber attacks, and if you think about the automotive industry, the fairness of the automotive industry. Well, right now more than ever, the governing bodies are favoring the electric vehicles more than ever by giving tax subsidies, and the governing bodies are giving tax incentives for manufacturing to convert to electric vehicles. And so the ice age is just continuing to getting, ice age more than ever is just getting kicked to the curb. I mean, it's just really, the ice age is just borderline being tarnished. But yet not everybody's buying that ball game. The Japanese don't be seen to buying this as much as others do. That's what I was talking about yesterday in these tax credits in this country. Japan's manufacturers are not even on par with what you could buy one of their cars for and get tax incentives. But the Toyota guy doesn't. The Toyota guy is so much more of the hybrid business model and just kind of slow it down. So I just think to myself, okay, how is it fair now that an individual wants to buy an ICE vehicle over an EV vehicle when the governing bodies more than ever are giving favoritism to the EV market? And then I think to myself, you then go to, what's fair in the automotive world that we've witnessed during the pandemic of people just having really no negotiation at all in buying cars. I mean, how has that been fair to the consumers? I was talking yesterday about I believe it was yesterday, about how the average car payment is over $1,000 a month now. Has grown from like 10% of the loans to now 15%. I think that number is still even low for the price of vehicles. So for the individual, and then they're claiming that the reason is because interest rates have gone up, and of course the price of vehicles have gone up. But you think to yourself, when you go to buy a car today, what's the number one thing you're kind of in the back of your brain is, are you going to be treated fairly? Isn't that the driving hate of, I hate to use the word hate, but isn't that the driving hate of people that just despise car dealerships? Is they don't feel they're getting a fair deal. They feel like when they go to a car dealership, they're not going to, isn't that kind of what the overall perception is to so many people? And that's why so many people like the Tesla business model or the Carvana business model. Oh, here we go.
To go get Eggs Benedict with me after I give Grandmommy the sandwich, and he said no.
Oh my gosh. Where's the fun? Why would you not want to do that?
He said no.
You should have told me he has to make it Eggs Benedict then. Should have told me he has to make it Eggs Benedict then. Well, hello, little baby. Yeah, my dog's ignoring me. Gee whiz. Is that fair? Here comes my mama and everybody. Yeah, so anyways, so people have gone to the internet purchasing because they feel like that's a more fair way. I mean, really? I mean, you really think about it? Is it really is fair? I mean, I guess, in so many ways, it's like the Saturn. Does anybody remember? Here it comes. Here he comes. Very boy, I tell you, everybody's kind of, it's just kind of mundane. What's going on, right? Yeah. Anyways, so years ago, Saturn had a business model. You go buy Saturn, and the price of it is the price of it is. But yet, in so many aspects, isn't that price fixing? I mean, how long did that business model last, right? Where's the Saturn cars these days? I mean, I was never, That was the budget mobile, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so in the automotive industry, I think the challenge, automotive industry, the motorcycle industry, I guess you could say the RV industry, the boat industry, where you go buy these these things that we want in our life. It seems like the challenge is, do you get a fair deal? And just like for me, I've purchased now three. Even for me, I'm sitting here talking. And I'm thinking I've bought 3 motorcycles. I've been down here. Yeah, yeah. What have I been drinking? Right? What's in this coffee down here? Yeah, right. Up north, it's just as bad. But the whole point is, yeah. Did I get some fair deals? Yeah, I mean, I think I did. I think I got. Yeah, I think I got. It's the only reason I did the deals. I think I got great deals in our reality. I think that for the motorcycles I've picked up, I've done pretty dang well. And yeah, a lot of people would be saying, well, if you just keep on sitting it out, you wait till you see the next round of, so many YouTube channels are still hammering the heck out of the doomsday is right here, right upon us. That the foreclosures and the repos and the wholesalers and the car dealers are just all going down the toilet. I don't know. I just travel all over the country, and I'm just not walking in dealerships where I'm hearing people say they ain't selling nothing. I'm not hearing this story. I'm not hearing it. Yeah, I mean, are they so down? I think it's back to the pre-pandemic. I think all these people in these YouTube channels are basing their business models on pandemic numbers. I don't know. I mean, it's just. I mean, sincerely, I just don't watch them. I just see the highlights on YouTube. And I just think I know what the conversation's going to be. It's going to be the doom and gloom. And do people just thrive off of that? Is that fair? That's what I think today more than ever in society. I mean, what's fair? I mean, doesn't it seem more than ever that is the underlying message is we need to be fair to each other? But how is that fair? I mean, there's so many different governing bodies and governing policies, and like just like I was talking about the cars. You go buy an EV vehicle, you get a tax credit, but the guy goes and buys an ICE vehicle, doesn't get a tax credit. Well, what's the underlying motive? It's to help you feel like the better deal is the EV vehicle, but is it? I mean, is the EV vehicle really in the end? Is it really the better purchase? For your money spent, is it? I mean, I think there's a lot of variables there on that. And once again, it just goes back to you're not buying gasoline. If you're plugging in your house, then I get it. I'll be first to raise my hand. If the business I have, and the F-150 Lightning truck I have, basically I pay somebody $2,000 a month to ride around their vehicle, versus I can. Let them use my vehicle, and we can plug it in, recharge it, and it doesn't cost $2,000 a month. So in my business scenario, it makes sense. But at the same time, if the person who works for me, if they're more like, I don't want this, I just want to have my own vehicle, and you're going to pay me the 58.5 cents per mile, and I'll be like, that's fine. It doesn't really matter to me. But for this person, he's like, I got a brand new F-150 Lightning truck. And he's more on the page like I was, is learning more about the vehicles, and you're kind of like the guinea pig. We're kind of like the guinea pigs of the truck market, if you think about it. I mean, F-150 truck is really the first truck, and then you go to Rivian. I mean, I just don't think Rivian's a truck. I'm sorry if it has one. It's not a truck. I mean, I know it's a truck, but it's not like, I don't see how you can compare it to the F-150 truck. I just don't think it's like me comparing my Bronco to the Cadillac Escalade. I mean, I just don't think that would be the proper comparison. It's just two different vehicles. The F-150 is such a bigger truck. The Rivian is more of a multi-purpose, Swiss knife vehicle tool where it's got a smaller platform, footprint, more about going up in the backwoods, camping. Yeah, you can tow a trailer, yeah. But the room inside the vehicle is Spartan. It's terrible. There's no way you can tell me that anybody goes on a long road trip in that Rivian that has 2 kids and a wife and you, that you can honestly say that vehicle's interior design is just this spacious, incredibly. I'm not saying it's not a comfortable vehicle. I'm just saying I don't see it as a full-size truck is what I'm trying to say. I think it's more of a mid-sized truck. So, and I'm not here hating on Rivian. I'm just sharing with how we all, is that fair to compare that to the F-150? So the point is, F-150 truck is really the first electric official work truck in the market at this time. And for the most part, it has the most volume in the market. And that's, like I said many times, it's a great truck for a local guy. Long haul guy, no way. Yeah, ask me how I know. Watch my videos. Yeah, so what's fair with Rivian? Rivian right now, apparently it's interesting. Rivian's had a lot of top executives have left and departed here in the last few months. And you can take that both ways. You can take one of it that are they concerned with the health of the company, being the stock values tanked by 79%, and or they kind of did their tenure and they kind of saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and people just came to closure that they need different talent, different ideas. I mean, that's creating an opportunity for somebody else. So does that mean that Rivian's in dire straits? I don't think they are. I mean, I think they wanted to build 25,000 vehicles last year, and they came short by 700. So they basically bought 24,300 vehicles, which that's not bad for that startup company. So I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, electric trend is growing. And the technology, which was the Consumer Electronics show, I didn't really follow it at all, but that was last week. I don't think it's still ongoing, but I can imagine if you're there, all the technology you would see associated with these electric vehicles, it's through the roof. I mean, it's incredible what's being accomplished with the technology. The semiconductors, how many of these vehicles? Like 3,000 semiconductors in a vehicle? Wow, just a rolling robot computer going down the road. And then isn't Apple and some other, there's just so many people jumping into the array of the electric market of transportation, right? So then you kind of look at the car market and you kind of look at what's going on just in general and the guidelines and governing bodies of what our country thinks is fair and isn't fair. I mean, just like the illegal immigration. All you hear about is legal immigration, and I just think to myself, wow, it just seems like it's never-ending talk about the illegal immigration. I mean, when is this country ever going to handle illegal immigration? What's fair? And that creates a huge division in our country because people have compassion and sorrow for others that are in hardships in their lives living in other countries. And I get that. I mean, I'm not a person that wishes hardships on others. But at the same time, how do you handle and manage the illegal immigration? What's fair? I mean, how is it fair? I mean, I have no idea. I'm not the Border Patrol expert. I'm not the immigration expert. I'm not going to radiate here on my channel that I have the answers. I'm just saying, where's the fairness? And that's where the division comes, where one part of the party of this country feels that what is fair, that the other part of the country feels is unfair. So, how do we come to terms on what makes sense, right? And what's interesting, I was at my bank the other day. Once you get my check, I'd have a certified check to buy that Indian motorcycle. And I met this really young, nice woman that's from Cuba. And she had such a great story on how she grew up in Cuba. And I would say she's like 19, maybe 20 years old, be my guess. And she came to this country here. And she does actually just here recently got her citizenship of this country. She's so excited, and she loves our country because she came from Cuba. And she was speaking that how that governing body has your eyes. They cover your eyes. It's like you do not. She's like, it's amazing. And once you leave Cuba and you come to America, she's like, your eyes actually then open up. She's like, it's incredible how that governing dictatorship in Cuba hides all of the reality of what's going on in the world. The people are oblivious to their freedoms and their rights, and they live under a dictator regime, and they have no idea of what lives that other people are living in this world. So she was just so blessed that her mother and her sisters came to this country, but her father has stayed back, and she goes back to see him, and she's just like, he's just oblivious, that he just has no clue, but he's living the lifestyle. So is that fair? Are these socialist regime, dictatorship countries fair to their citizens? So I understand that people hear of this country and they want to come here and they want to have an opportunity to be treated fairly, right? Isn't that the whole idea? I mean, isn't that the whole idea in our society? We all want to feel that we get treated fairly, but more than ever, it seems like we're not being treated fairly. It just seems like the one governing body has incredibly different views that so many support, but then so many others don't support. I mean, it's just incredible where it divides us as a country now. What we think is right versus wrong, and then what is fair versus unfair. And I mean, you can go down through the list of things of education, religion, um, the crime. You can look at how does each state handle crime, what they think is fair to a criminal versus which is unfair to a criminal. I mean, you can just go through the list, and that's what's divided us more than ever. It seems like that if I have a view that supports this versus your view that doesn't support it, or vice versa, and then that's where we become separated from each other, and then we don't feel like we're treating each other fairly. And then it goes in personal relationships, it goes in business relationships, and that's usually what drives each of us away from each other, is because we feel like we're not being treated fairly, or being treated unfairly. When one person's like, yeah, but I don't understand. Why isn't this fair? So that's a huge problem. It seems like more than ever, this social media machine supports too. It supports more than ever the vocal. If you go to Twitter, I mean, I just never was a Twitter guy, and I just now kind of spend time kind of reading all the Twitter comments, and Borderline. I mean, it's pretty strong comments, and I think that something that is really intriguing more than ever is I don't think that people realize that when you're in the internet and you're in these social platforms and you're in forums and you start having conversations with people and you say certain things, that you have to be very careful. And then you have to be very careful on how you as an individual take information and then use it to advance your own, what you feel is fair versus unfair, and use other people's information. I mean, there's laws right now that were written actually years ago of people that are you can get fined, you can go to jail. There's lots of things that people don't realize, that when you start taking information from, like, my YouTube channel, let's just say I said some things and somebody thought I was radical, and then they start posting it somewhere else, and then it becomes slander against me, or if I'm saying something bad about somebody else, that I'm slandering them, or it's character assassination. I mean, there's so many things today more than ever that as you interact on these social platforms, the YouTube channels, that if you're not being treated fairly, if you don't feel that and you're being treated unfairly, what do you do? And sadly, more than ever, what we've witnessed is people take other people's information and they use it against them. And that actually, I don't think a lot of people realize that you can get yourself in a lot of trouble in that. And the only reason I'm bringing this up to you is because I think that as time progresses and we're all more exposed to so much social information, so much we like to share our ideas and views, and one person's view may be looked at unfairly to another person's view, and that's a challenge. But how do you handle that? And so what we've witnessed in years is where people are taking other people's words and using those words to create a movement of what others may not think is appropriate and think fair, and then treat you unfairly. And that's what's going on. It's been going on. And so, we all know this isn't really anything new per se in mankind or anything else. I mean, it's just, that's why the January 6th thing, you can take X amount of people in this country and say that the people that went there are being treated the way they should be treated, fairly, through the governing bodies. And then you're going to have another portion of the country saying that they feel like they're being treated unfairly. And then, like, here now we're getting the Biden left some files, some documented files that in his office from years ago, and how they're saying, is it fair that when Trump had documented files versus Biden has documented files, that one was one treated as fairly as the other, one was treated unfairly, so that's just the most recent thing. Everybody's kind of following that, where now the media has to talk about something and they have to have agenda, and you have to have conversations. How does a media person, keep content going for you to turn on the TV or your device or to read things without something like it's eye-opening? So, oh my gosh, Donald Trump had documents in his home and blah blah blah, and I don't know, I'm not really following every detail of that, but now Joe Biden has the same thing, but Joe Biden doesn't have as many documents. But I don't know. I mean, to me in life, it just seems like, well, if one guy's doing 100 miles an hour, he gets caught, all right, then that's right. But if the other guy does 100 miles an hour, over and over again, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same thing. I mean, you're breaking the law, right? So I mean, does it matter if you do it once or you do it 10 times? Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying, it's but the media machine. Does the media machine want to treat one person more fairly than the other? And yeah, I think we all know from Twitter, from Elon Musk, it's obvious that he's digging up a lot of unfairness. I mean, is he? But I'm sure there's a lot of people in this country that just aren't buying into it. I think that a lot of people are like, this is malarkey, that what happened, and to try to dig up old stuff, to think that things were persuaded a certain way, to be viewed as what's fair versus unfair. It's just a bunch of malarkey, because people aren't going to change their views that feel very strongly that they've sided with a governing body that they feel is the right choice, and they're just not going to just back down. I mean, that's just kind of how we are as people. We kind of come to closure what we think is fair versus unfair, and that's the challenge. How do we become more fair to one another without being unfair to others by doing devious things? Yeah. All right, everybody. Just thought I would throw out a video this morning and call it the fairness video. What's fair? I'm sure everybody here watching my channel, everybody has this story of how you have felt that you were treated fairly, or you've treated unfairly. I mean, who doesn't have these conversations? Who hasn't had that happen in their life? And where's the country going now with Kevin McCarthy in office? Boy, I tell you what, he's all about going after the Chinese that he feels like isn't treating our country fairly. And he's all about getting key long-term committee individuals like Schumer and these few other individuals thrown off of the committee. So Kevin McCarthy's kind of putting the hammer down after he kind of had to, really beg to get votes to get in to be speaker, but it seems like he's starting to kind of take the side of the Republican Party. It's going to be very interesting times to see. I've said it many times. When does the media machine start getting ratcheted back up? Because the GOP's kind of got control of where the country's going again. I mean, apparently they've got a bill to kill the 7,000 IRS agents. That bill's apparently been, I think hasn't passed. I don't know. All I know is that Kevin McCarthy's going to start, taking back a lot of things that the Democratic Party brought to the table and got passed. So I just think it's just a matter of time before the media machine starts ratcheting up the hate against Kevin McCarthy and the GOP party, and then they start using the streets, the physical presence in the streets to start telling the people the dissatisfaction of this governing body in the country. It's been awful quiet. So the fairness is getting ready to go away, in my opinion. The talk of unfairness under the new House chamber is going to create that. Hope I'm wrong. I'm not in for violence. That isn't who I am. That's not how I operate in life. I don't attack others. What you do is you attack the subject. You don't attack others. You attack the subject. But for a lot of reasons, for what's incredible more than ever, people are attacking others instead of attacking the subject at hand. So, but people just don't know how to handle that. Very challenging for all of us as individuals. So once again, thanks for watching my channel. What are we up to today? I don't know. I mean, I'm running out of time. My time in Florida is coming to an end. So when do I go back? Oh, yeah. Decisions. So anyways, everybody, thanks so much for watching my channel. Thanks for nice comments. I really do appreciate the support. And that's just really nice of everybody that's subscribers. Really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great day. Stay safe and God bless.